Hello and welcome to episode 28 of Nintendo Therapy, a show about the latest Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all the things Nintendo. With me this week is Harrison
Hey guys, welcome back.
and Sean.
You know, after Barbieheimer, there's Saw Patrol in September. That's the next mashup. So
I have a list that I've been making, Sean knows this, of all my favorite movies in chronological order with the release dates, and you'd be amazed at how many Barbieheimer examples there are out there. Like
I'm sure
so
there's
many
a lot
movies,
of them that
like crazy opposites that came out on the same day.
before the interwebs.
What year did Toy Story come out? I remember that had a crazy
95.
one. 95. I'm looking at the list right now, and that was one that stuck out. Let me just get that one.
95. It would be Toy Guns. I don't know. I'm just guessing. No, Top Gun might have not been 95.
Toy Story and Casino came out on the same day.
Toy Casino.
Toy Casino's not that great. I don't know if those are opposites. I mean, I guess Oppenheimer and Barbie are opposites. I guess, but. Wait,
Well,
what is the new Saw? What's the new Saw movie coming out? What is that called?
Saw 10.
Oh, just Saw 10.
But
It's
it
not Saw
comes
Twitter. Saw X.
Nah. Well, it's Saw X, but yeah. It's that and Paw Patrol 2 open the same weekend.
Oh,
A lot of crossover appeal there.
yeah, those are opposites, I guess. I'm not so familiar with the Paw Patrol. I don't have children.
I don't think there's as
All right,
much
well, until these
gratuitous
are turned
murder.
into Nintendo games. What's been going on with your Nintendo stuff this week? I've been playing Pikmin 4 nonstop, and I love it. Still don't know if I like it more than 3, because 3 was really good, but it's definitely longer. I can say that at this point, because I 100%ed the the first 3 stages it gives you before you unlock that final stage. That's kind of like the Pikmin formula, I think. And yeah, I'm way more hours in than I was on Pikmin 3 right now.
No, all 4 are in the back catalog, but I did finally beat Final Fantasy, which
You want to give a quick review? Your quick thoughts on a game that everyone who has any interest in has played by this point? What was stressful about it? I never thought it was that stressful.
The end fight, like, if the boss does the healing thing, you're just done. I just lucked out he didn't do it because he killed half my party. Because
you told me you were kind of last. We talked about it on the podcast. Your party was at like level 50, and you said you got them up to like level 70 or something. Yeah, I've already talked on this podcast about I love to fight. I love to be over leveled in RPGs, so that's probably why I never had a problem with it. Like I would have gone into that fight at level like 99.
I didn't feel over leveled. I just feel like it was even finally, but I literally think it's he didn't heal because he had both my offensive guys down. My white mage was probably one hit away, and then the black mage was going to just be screwed. But no, I liked it. It came out to 29 hours total. And I mean, you've seen the bad guy went back in time story before, so there's nothing, groundbreaking there. But, like I said, I basically paid $5 for it, so I thought it was worth it. I'll never, ever play it again. But
yes, you will.
No, I won't. I don't have time to go back to Final Fantasy 1. But yeah, so I crossed that off the list. I added the Pikmins, and then I decided to change it up, and I had a very relaxing time with Contra today.
Okay.
I really want to replay now that I'm into Pikmin 4, that first Pikmin game, because it like blows my mind remembering that in that game there were only 3 types of Pikmin, because it was the beginning of the series, and now there's like I don't even know how many. I feel like there's like almost 10 different types. And that first game, there was just the yellow, blue, and red. That's it.
No, I'm looking forward to diving into those, but I just needed some classic 2D platforming. Something that was a little quick.
Yeah. I would like to believe that I'll eventually play Pikmin 1 on Switch. But I think it's a kind of a nice idea. But perhaps if there's like a Black Friday sale on it or something, I'll pick up I'll pick up 1 and 2. Uh, but
Yeah, I
I,
did the vouchers for 3 and 4.
yeah, yeah, I mean it's a nice thought. I mean I love the original Pikmin, and it would be super nostalgic. I don't think I've played it since it came out. But man, I, I'll give it the benefit of a doubt because it was a 1 and 2 bundle. But if you look at Metacritic now, it is the 10th highest game by user ratings for Switch,
Wow.
while Pikmin 4 is the fifth highest. That's pretty cool for a game that was just a re-release, and I hope that means that there were people that are playing it now that are like, "Wow, I never played this, and this is really good." Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, there's that. I spent time with the Spotlight game this week, which I've never played before, and I really enjoyed. Um, and I've been deep into a a different life sim game I've been playing, so didn't do as much Nintendo this week. But I did watch some videos on the Disney Illusion Island. Have you guys seen any content
Oh,
about that?
yeah, I forgot that came out. I heard that's pretty good, actually.
It it looks like a game I'm not going to play because I don't think it'll keep me engaged enough. It's a little bit too easy, I think, and it looks like it would be more fun multiplayer, which is just not my style.
Yeah.
But it's gorgeous though. I'm not familiar with the developer of this game, but it looks absolutely gorgeous on the Switch. So
Okay, well, moving into the news for this week, I only really found one thing I wanted to talk about other than the stuff you sent, Harrison. So I'll just read this and then you can get into your topics.
oh sure.
So coinciding with the new Ninja Turtle movie that comes out today, as of when this episode comes is uploaded. It well that'll be the Friday. That's when movies like technically premiere. I don't know if there's like a Thursday release or anything. But
No,
anyway, this week.
it's out now.
What do you mean it's out now? Oh, it came out Wednesday?
Yeah, they released it early.
Oh, yeah. Man, I miss when movie releases were predictable and you had to go to a show Thursday night at midnight to see a premiere.
Them days
Those were
over.
the days. Yeah. You and I went to many a midnight showing,
Now
waiting
I'm
in
like,
line.
is there
We
one?
didn't even have assigned seats,
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
you
I do
had to
like
wait in that
that.
line.
But
Okay,
yeah.
hold up. What was the worst midnight movie you've seen together?
Worse. That's kind of hard because I'm a sucker who loves everything.
No,
Um,
you were kind of disappointed when we went to Resident Evil.
yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah. So that I'll go with that. I wanted it to be more like the games. They still haven't really given us anything that's
Oh,
like
they
the
did.
games.
They did. The last movie they did, it was terrible.
Well, anything good that was like the games.
Have you ever been to a midnight release where the theater was like empty?
Yes,
I
many
went to.
times.
It wasn't a midnight release, but I went. The emptiest theater I ever went to was Hot Fuzz. I went to see. I think it was opening weekend, and it was just me, the person I went with, and then there were two other people in the theater who walked out like 10 minutes into it, and it was me and my friend Tom, and I was like, we were both like, what did they think this was going to be? Like, it's you already had Shaun of the Dead to set the tone.
Yeah,
So so it was just the two of us in that theater for the rest of it.
I've been to a few, but like Snakes on a Plane, there was like no one there.
Oh man.
After like all that nonsense,
On a midnight release because that oh my god, that movie
a lot of
takes me
horror
back.
movies too, like stuff that Grindhouse. There was like 6 of us in the theater.
Yeah.
So, but recently, I don't even know the last time I did one.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I can do them anymore. We used to do them all the time. Like 10 years ago. But I don't know. I'd have to be pretty engaged to do it because we used to see some horrible movies.
Oh yeah.
I saw a midnight release of Wonderlust. It was that like Jennifer
Oh,
Aniston
I
movie
haven't seen that.
from like 2012 or something. And I remember I asked you this question because it was me and my girlfriend at the time, and there was two other guys, and I remember it because they were so big, each of them needed two seats. Like they couldn't
Oh
fit in
my.
the one movie seat. And at one point, the movie just went out for like a minute, and one of the guys finally gets up and like goes and tells them, and comes back in. He's like, "It's come back on, guys," and we're just like, "Thanks," like the three other people in the theater. So, um, so yeah, Minecraft, huh, Kevin?
Oh, I
Yeah,
saw that.
yeah. So to coincide with Ninja Turtles, there is going to be some Ninja Turtle Minecraft action. The Minecraft Bedrock Edition has received DLC in the past for things like Sonic the Hedgehog and Mega Man X, but earlier today, as of when we're recording, they announced that they are going to be doing some Ninja Turtle DLC. So it's available for purchase. It says, let me look. DLC includes 6 iconic locations, 20 skins, and 22 turtle themed character creator items available in the dressing room. You can see the trailer down below. When is it available? It doesn't say. Oh, it's now available. It's now
I was gonna
available
say
right
I would
now.
think that's out
Yeah,
now, so
this is the
that's cool.
launch
Yeah.
trailer for it.
So if you want to be Ninja Turtle-y in the world of Minecraft, go do it. Like, that would have been so cool if we had this type of thing when we were growing up. Like, if you
Yeah.
could put, I'm trying to think of a franchise, like, I don't know, Legend of Zelda is what we use for everything as an example. What's another if in what was the army game? Not Army Men, but the real-time strategy game.
Oh, Command and Conquer.
Command and Conquer,
Oh,
yeah. If you could get some kind of Ninja Turtle skins going in Command and Conquer and make all the people like foot soldiers,
That
that
would
would
have
have
been
been
cool.
awesome. Trying to think of what other games we played when we were kids that were like super popular like that. Doom.
Yeah.
Everything played Doom.
Reskin
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Well, they already modded the heck out of Doom. There probably is a Ninja Turtle Doom mod somewhere where you're in the sewers and you're shooting ninja stars at Foot Clan members.
well, you can play Doom in Minecraft, or at least like people have made it work before. Like you can play Doom inside of Minecraft. Don't ask me
Interesting.
how. I don't know enough about either of those games.
I did a quick Google and it looks like there are some TMNT Doom mods, but they look pretty terrible.
Uh,
They don't got a lot of polish on them.
so that's the only
Um,
news, huh?
That's the only news story. I was kind of busy this week. Sorry to the listeners. You're losing out because of my busyness. But you know what? I'll do the rumor and then Harrison can do his because it's really quick. So it's another week, another set of Switch 2 rumors. I don't know if you all saw this,
oh
but
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
so
I
this.
keep seeing that everywhere now.
yeah, according to multiple people with knowledge of Nintendo's next gen console that have apparently gotten development kits, they have leaked that Nintendo is planning to launch their next system in the second half of 2024. So that just kind of
Mhm.
shifts things from the rumors we already had of first quarter 2024 to second half of 2024. And they say the main reason they're doing this is so that they won't run into the problem PlayStation had where there weren't enough supply to go around and there'll be plenty of Switch 2s for everybody. Um, I don't like some of the things that were involved in the leak detail wise, so I hope they're not true. Like that it's going to go back to having an LCD screen instead of an OLED screen. But knowing Nintendo, they're just planning to release an OLED Switch 2 a year after they release this one, so who knows?
I I think that's pretty likely. I think even at this point, because like they're releasing Like I think like Steam Deck is LCD, and although like I'm sure they'll release an OLED Switch 2 in the future after that. Um, I don't I don't know if I have much of a preference or a difference, and I'm sure it'll be more optimized than the original Switch. I see. I think that could be pretty likely, but some of the mock-ups that I've seen of the new Switch look kind of silly. Although that's all probably just conjecture. That's there's nothing behind any of that.
It'll probably, if I had to guess, if it is a Switch 2, which again, I don't think they're going to call it that. But if it is literally just an upgraded Switch, I think it's going to be a lot like the Nintendo DS situations where it's going to look nearly identical and just be like slightly different looking.
Yeah, probably, with better power behind it.
Longer battery life.
Well,
I don't do handheld, so I don't know what the battery life is like right now.
I mean, it depends what you're playing.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I personally think the battery life for Switch is phenomenal. In my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, even though like it really will depend on what you're playing, but I mean, the size and the battery life are overall some of the biggest selling points for me. Because, for example, like again, I will not travel with my Steam Deck because the battery is so short and it's still kind of clunky. It's fine for at home, but it's not something that I would just put in my bag and take on the road. So I've always thought the battery was great. But yeah, another week of rumors for the new Switch.
Well, we'll see what rumors we have for the Switch 2 next week. So, yeah, Harrison, why don't you get into some of those stories you sent me?
Well, I'll stick on the rumor side. I have it pulled up now. According to Insider Tez2, who is some Twitter insider, he tweeted about a Rockstar website update, which features a new logo for the original Red Dead Redemption, which they're speculating means that they're going to do a some kind of re-release for consoles. And he also followed up with an additional tweet noting that that inside the website's code mentions new systems, including the Nintendo Switch. I don't know. I I want to say I don't know because I don't know what insider means and what looking at the website's code of the future means or anything. But I'll bring it up because people were talking about it, and this is definitely a game I could see come to Switch. I mean, it's a 2013 game for PS3, right? I mean, the Switch could hit
2010.
20. Really?
Yeah, I think that was
Wow.
quite a while
so
ago
long
now.
ago.
But yeah,
I remember
I agree.
100%ing that game, and that was one of the games where this is one of the issues I have with trophies, because you can 100% that game, but you don't have all the trophies. Like you see in the menu, completion 100%, and you're like, then why don't I have all the trophies? I should. I did everything.
And now my brain is itchy.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's how trophies should be. If you 100% the game, you should have all the trophies. That's how they should be set up. But except for maybe like the difficulty setting trophies. But yeah, I love that game. I liked it more than the second one actually, which I think I'm in the minority there. And
I couldn't get past the prologue of the second one. So
they're quite different. This would not surprise me at all. I was hoping for GTA 4. I was hoping for Chinatown Wars and
aren't the GTA like that trilogy that they released?
That's on there.
That's on there.
What I'm saying isn't it super buggy? Because I was gonna get that, and I saw so many bad reviews for how it ran on Switch.
It's all patched up now.
Right. The
Do you
release.
have it?
Yeah, that was something I didn't wait on and got at
Yeah.
release, and
So
then
it runs
eventually,
fine and it works
Right.
because I was, like I said, I was going to
yeah,
get it. And then I read all that stuff and I'm like, oh, never mind.
no, it works good now.
No, I
Okay.
bought it. I
Put it
bought
on
it
the
on
list.
sale, and I played through San Andreas and had a blast, and was super happy with it. But
Well, developers take that as a lesson. That's why you need to make sure that stuff works at launch, because I'm sure there's plenty of people out there like me that read those stories and just wrote the game off altogether and will never buy it.
well,
Like if you guys didn't just tell me that, I would have probably never got it on Switch, but now it's going on the list.
well, I think people are going to be mad regardless because I think people should realize that because people are going to think, oh, Red Dead Redemption game from 13 years ago, this must mean we're getting a remaster. No, we're not. We're not. We're not. Or I mean, we're getting a remake, I should say. No,
Yeah.
we're getting a remaster, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah,
it's
Yeah,
good.
they'll put a filter on there,
It's
smooth out some of the graphics,
it's going to be the same game, and it's gonna run the same. And Rockstar is not spending too much time on it, so I think
and it'll launch with a bunch of glitches.
which will be
yeah,
patched. And I was fine with buying the GTA trilogy because I knew what it was. But as I was playing it, I did think like, man, like I do wish San Andreas had a remaster. I do wish for that. But Rockstar's not doing that. Rockstar is too focused on other things. So I think if it happens,
GTA 5.
yeah, yeah, I think if it happens, it's going to just be the same game and it's going to run fine because it's a really old PS3 games. I will still hope for a GTA 4 remaster at some point on some system.
I could see that them doing that too, because I know there's a lot of people that do enjoy that one.
GTA 4 seems to have this, I don't want to say cult following, but it seems like the following is getting bigger as time goes on because more and more people are discovering that game and discovering it's like one of their favorite GTA games.
Yeah,
So,
I
I think
haven't
that
played any
Red Dead.
since 3.
I played like bits and pieces of 5 and 4, but
yeah. Yeah. And I've
my
been,
thing with GTA now, like the reason I liked Red Dead Redemption was you can't live in the old west, and I feel like what's weird to me about GTA 5 being the most successful piece of media ever, and I'm not saying go out and do these things, but you can do most of that stuff in reality, and to me it's like, well, that defeats the point of a video game. So I don't know.
right. Right. I totally agree. Uh,
When was the last time you crashed a helicopter into a strip club, Sean?
I'm just saying you could.
yeah, you definitely could. It's definitely possible. You know
You're not going Hyrule though, so
you, you,
Harrison Ford will.
you know what trend I don't like? It's like people make these YouTube videos where they're like architects play Minecraft or something like that. And then
oh
the
yeah,
architects they'll like watch these videos and they're like, "Well, that foundation would never work." And I'm like, "Bro, like it's fun." Like
it's a
like
game.
it's a game like do you remember like
You punch
do you
trees.
remember being a kid and drawing things that could have never been built? I mean, don't architects do that already? Don't architects
There's literally magic in Minecraft.
Yeah, I mean, don't architects already make things that are way too ambitious? So like that's just little side.
It's just always been a funny argument to me because it's like, I don't know. I mean, I can't think of too many games that are, kind of realistic where it's like, okay, yeah, but
It would be
that's not what
horrible.
I play games for,
It would be
you know?
it would be absolutely horrible because I do think about because you know me, I play lots of life sims. I think about the balance of life sims of where like if it's too realistic, it's just gonna suck. it's just going to be horrible. But if it's not enough, then it's just a boring, bland, whatever game, you know?
Well, I kind of like your take on Animal Crossing, where it's like it's in a world with no war and this and that. Like, I don't know. I it makes it sound more appealing to play.
Sure.
But yeah, if Animal Crossing was just full blown, like this is what it's like to really run a town, and it's like I don't think that would be fun.
Pikmin 4 is very realistic.
I'm sure it is.
Um, my my next news item, which man, I think this is the biggest one of the last couple of days. They had that game called, was it called The Last Hope? Yes, The Last Hope,
Oh
Dead Zone
yes,
Survival.
yep.
So Sony apparently had this game removed because of copyright claim, and it's legit. Like Sony actually went out and did this, and I did my research because I thought perhaps they just took it off because Digital Foundry and all of these channels were making videos saying this is the worst Switch game or possibly the worst game of like all time. You know, like
Right.
and looking into this VG developer, they've only made games for I think mobile and Switch. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it's all just very generic shovelware type things, like games I've never heard of, but like sound right, you know, like Need for Drive or something like that, you know, like yeah, that sounds like a game. Um, but
What was the copyright claim against it?
that it's just clearly too much of the original, which this is a problem not too clear about because, and this is really the reason why I wanted to talk about this, is because I mean it's imitation, and it's imitation of a game that was extremely popular, but I'm not so sure where you draw the line unless they're just straight up stealing assets from this game. And games on Steam get taken down all the time for stolen assets. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more of the case that this is so clearly just a scam game. And
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of apps out there that use the same exact like formula and like look of Pokemon and stuff like that. Like, there was like when Rick and Morty was huge, there was that what was it called? Like Too Many Mortys or something app, which was basically Pokemon, but with Rick and
Oh yeah.
Morty. Um and I don't know, there's like, yeah, there's copycat games all the time, so it's interesting to see somebody take action for it.
yeah, and you know, I won't get into it too much on this side because it's too much history, but it's pretty clear Sony and Nintendo's history is just not good. I mean,
Yeah.
like outside of like Sony letting every system play baseball, like Sony and Nintendo are pretty rough. Straight from the very beginning. I mean, PlayStation exists because of decisions by Nintendo. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I don't have a solution when I think about the problems with all of this shovelware and all of these things that I think really just muddy up the water and is going to cause a problem with video game preservation in the future. Uh, and unfortunately, this has this has gone on to Nintendo Switch as well, which is something I really don't like. I mean, there are over
Yeah.
5,000 games on Nintendo eShop. Most of those will be forgotten. Most of those will never be played. And a lot of them are just shovelware, scam, possibly mining, just crap. I mean, so I don't have a solution towards it.
When did Nintendo get rid of the like Nintendo seal of approval thing?
That's a good question because I know they had it up to the Nintendo 64 era.
Because I feel like it's silly, but it almost feels like they just need to bring a system like that back.
Well, yeah, because that's what led to the crash of the video game industry was anybody in the world could make, Atari games and all these other games, and the market was just flooded. Just like now, the digital market is being flooded with all these indie games, and some of them, most of them are just kind of like point and click, not barely video game type games. Um, and it's an interesting parallel to think about. Is like we're right back where we were when the industry folded before, but I mean, I don't think we're in any danger because the
No.
quality games are all anyone pays attention to. Whereas the problem before was people didn't even know how to find the quality games because the market was so flooded with everything.
Yeah.
That's very true. I just think about like I think about other mediums and other things people consume. Like for example, in this last year, Netflix released 900 originals in this past year worldwide.
Wow.
900 originals. How many of those shows are never watched? You know, and then how
I need to pitch a
and
show.
then how many shows? I mean, that's the South Park joke. Like, hello, thanks for calling Netflix. You're greenlit. You know, like that was the joke.
Yeah.
And then how many good shows just end or take years to come out with another 8 episodes? So I think like
Yeah.
Firefly season.
not to get too deep, I think as far as streaming, I think this is actually the worst case scenario that we've come to right now. And perhaps this is like just the fast fashion period of video games because I'll see like an indie game pop off and then all of a sudden I'll see 5 games exactly like it on Steam that are coming soon.
Yeah.
And it's just like it is a little bit frustrating sometimes. That's all, you know, because some of it is a scam.
But at the same time, if it wasn't for those cheap knockoff imitators, we wouldn't have Doom. Because do you know that story where it was the Doom guy, what's his name? John Romero made a port of Super Mario Brothers that ran on Atari 2600, was like one of the first
Oh
things
yeah.
he did that eventually, you know, built up his reputation to get a budget together, and eventually that led to us having Doom. Everything comes back to Doom today.
Yeah, yeah, because everything has Doom. Yeah, everything. Um, my well, my last part I wanted to bring up. I think it's my last part today. Well, right after we recorded last week's episode, and perhaps before we even released it, uh, Nintendo Switch Online shadow dropped both Oracle games, and I wanted to start with just a quick
Oh
trivia
yeah.
question. I want to start with a quick trivia question, including um, including games, all Zelda games. How many Zelda games are on Nintendo Switch now, including the ones not made by Nintendo?
I can list,
There's
I think, all
probably
the ones that
what,
aren't
12 of
on
them
it.
on there.
I don't know how many
Take a guess. So so
that'll take.
so Switch. So
So we're missing Twilight Princess, we're missing Wind Waker, we're missing the Four Swords games,
so
and we're that's pretty much it that we're missing, except for like the
let
CDI
me
games, which don't count.
let me pull it up real quick.
Um,
So games physically on Switch, Switch Online, and then spin-off games, which is the word I was trying to think of.
I'm
How
going with
many do you think
12,
that
but I'm
is?
probably
Just
wrong.
take a guess. Higher.
I'm gonna say so. I'm trying to like add the series up in my head.
It's more than 12.
I'm gonna say 15. I'm gonna Price is Right you. I'm gonna say 15.
Well, Price is Right rules, you would win. It's 16. So there
Ah,
are now 4 that have been released on Switch. Breath of the Wild, Link's Awakening, Skyward Sword HD, Tears of the Kingdom. There have been now 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 on Switch Online, and then there are 3 spin-off games, including Cadence of Hyrule and both
Okay.
Warriors games. So that's 16. Going back,
Yeah, they're doing a great job of getting all their franchises on there because I saw that people saying the same thing about Metroid is once the next 2 Prime games, when they finally do those releases, the only thing missing will be like the remake of the Game Boy game. I can't think of the Samus Returns. That's not going to be on there. And the one that everybody Metroid M won't be on there, and the other one they did for the 3DS. So basically 3 Metroid games is all that's missing, and one of them is a remake.
right. I mean, Zelda, Pikmin, Metroid, like Switch will be great if you just want to play just big catalog. So Kevin, you're the resident Zelda guy. If people play these games, which one do they play first?
I like the Seasons one a little better. I'm trying to remember which one because they basically each had a theme. Like one focuses more on puzzles
Okay.
and one focuses more on action, and that was like their gimmick. And I think the Seasons one is the one that focuses more on puzzles, which I liked.
I didn't know
more.
that originally it was going to be 3 games, because I guess it was going to be like each thing of the Triforce.
Well, originally they were trying to do a remake of the first Zelda game on Game Boy, like a straight up 1-to-1 remake. And then when they had that all like kind of they were like, you know what, let's do original games. That kind of fell apart at some point. And then they were like, let's do 3 of them. And then linking the 3 became a nightmare. So they were like, let's do 2 of them.
I think that's what I saw, that the system they wanted to use to link them was just too much, so they just did 2.
Well, they're linked with passwords. So that's like a very complicated thing to do when you have 3 in the mix. You know what I mean?
All I know is when they announced it, I'm like, oh, I hope that comes up in the thing next. So
Yeah, apparently it's been known for a while that these Oracle games were coming to the Switch Online, but I haven't been paying attention.
I did
enough,
see someone,
I
think it was on Reddit, was like, so where are the N64 games? It's like, yeah, they have not been keeping up on that. So
that's very true, because do we still not have Pokemon Stadium? Because that's
Pokemon Stadium.
That's what I was waiting on.
2, I think we don't have.
2 we don't
Mario
have.
Party 3.
I looked it up and I was wrong. Seasons is the one that focuses on the action. Ages is the one that does that does more puzzles. But it also, so I was wrong about that. But Google, when I Googled which to play first, most of these articles do recommend you start with Seasons, even though it doesn't matter. So Seasons is more action oriented. Start with that, then do Ages puzzles.
I'm gonna have to look into this game more. Every article that I went through yesterday, just like they love this game or these games. Like Kotaku, which I always reference, but I don't like, says it's like the best Zelda game. I mean,
it just doesn't, like, it feels a little, there's something about it that feels off to me, and it's not that I don't like them. It's just that they just feel, there's something about them that feels a little weird, and I don't know what that is. Like the world map, it made sense in Link's Awakening, and those basically use like the Link's Awakening engine. And something about like the world map in Link's Awakening made more sense to me. I don't know.
Fair.
It's just, that's the best I can describe it, is something seems weird about those 2 games.
That's fair. I have to find out for myself, because I mean, I think everything in Zelda is weird. So I think I need to find out kind of what that is. Like,
I mean, I'm not going to stop playing them.
Yeah.
I've beaten them all. I've beaten every Zelda game multiple times, and those are, except for at this point, obviously, um, the new one there, Tears of the Kingdom. But you know, it. I'll play them again. It's just when I run to a Zelda, that's not high on the list.
Well, yeah, Switch Online users now. I mean, that is nine just on the online service that you can play. Yeah, you can play now. I think that's my last. That's our last news item. Should we go to your segment today?
Yeah, so I thought of this when we were doing last week's segment about the games that gave you the most bang for your buck. And I thought it would just be fun to kind of talk about what games, it's almost the opposite, but not really. But like, what games have you purchased the most times? Like the game that just like every time it releases and re-releases, you keep buying it. So I thought that would be kind of a fun segment.
So I'm going to start off, and I plan to not do this again, but so Arkham Asylum, I have gotten 3 different times. Arkham
Okay.
City, I've gotten 4 different times. I think I'm the only person who bought that on Wii U, but yeah,
Oh yeah, I remember it was on Wii U. Wasn't it a launch title?
yeah, like you had powered up armor, like that was the gimmick. But uh, yeah, I'm not gonna get them on Switch, but yeah, I really like those games, and they're usually just on sale, and I'm like, oh, I like that. I don't have it on this, and I'm like, why? Why did you do this again? So,
So the one that I'd say is probably lowest on this list, but it's still a game that I've bought a bunch of times and I'm probably gonna buy again to be honest, is Metal Gear Solid 2. I bought
oh
on the
yeah,
PlayStation 2, I bought it on Xbox, and then they put out like a different version of it called like Metal Gear Solid 2. It was called like Subsistence or something like that. And I bought that and because it had like extra VR missions. And then they released an HD collection, and I
yep.
bought that.
And now
and
it's coming out again.
and now it's coming to Switch, and I'm gonna buy that. So Metal Gear Solid 2 is definitely on that list.
It's a good list so far. I struggled a bit with my list, but the one that really sticks out is Pokemon Red or Blue. Uh,
Really?
because those are games where I mean there were benefits of having both games, and it was
Right.
it was it was a time where the price point was okay for games like that. Kevin, I we had a podcast I told you about how we used to take our Game Boys to Funko Land or GameStop, and we would try out all like the used Pokemon carts, and we would find whatever used cart had like the most Pokemon on it, and then we would like dump it and then reset it. But it's definitely a game I bought multiple times on Game Boy Color, and I could include Yellow as well in that. Why not? I bought the 20th anniversary on 3DS, which I remember very well because there was all this talk of, oh, are they going to keep missing though? Are they going to keep the glitches that everyone knew about in this game? And they did. They just they just straight up copied it from one thing to the next. And then if I could include it, I mean, I played Fire Red Leaf Green on Game Boy Advance. I played the Let's Go Eevee, and I've played multiple ROMs, which doesn't count for this, but it's relevant, I think. Um,
Okay.
that's the one that sticks out the most.
So fortunately, I didn't have a lot of them. That was the thing that I was happy about. So another one I've gotten 3 times is Dark Souls Remastered, which I do have on Switch, and I I don't know. It's just a good game. I really enjoy it, and it's something I replay, and I don't know. I'm like, hey, let me see if I can beat it on Xbox now. So,
Did you get any more enjoyment out of the remastering?
so that's the only version of Dark Souls I ever played.
Oh, okay.
So there was really no significant difference to me. I think it's more gameplay improvement because I know the original one had like frame rate issues and stuff.
Well,
And
let me rephrase that for both of you. Have either of you ever bought like a remaster or a HD re-release and been like blown away by how much better the second or whatever release was?
Um,
Final
Yeah,
Fantasy.
see, it's kind of a gimmick. Nothing
well,
nothing jumps
well,
right out.
we're saying remaster, not remake. I'm getting caught with the semantics today.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, that's definitely what
j-
I'm
j-
saying.
j-
Yeah, because if you're remaking the game, like it's a different game to me at that
right.
point. I'm just talking about like maybe they added some DLC or they, gave it like a graphical facelift or
Oh,
something like that. Like it's
you know what?
what?
I mean, visually, I guess it wasn't much of an upgrade, but Dying Light enhanced on Switch because that
Hmm.
was a game I couldn't play on PS4 because I was getting motion sick because of how big the screen was, and I was able to play it handheld. It had all the DLC and everything, and I guess it looked and ran better, but that's one that stood out to me that I ended up actually getting to play through, and I was like, oh, all right, cool. I got to play through this game because they were
Yeah,
able
because
to, you know,
there's a big spectrum there, like Harrison's talking about. Like Final Fantasy VII remake is not what that's a
yeah.
whole different game at that point. Um, but like the Crash Bandicoot and Spyro trilogy, they just kind of look better. And you know what? That's the answer I'm going to go with. Like Spyro, it the Spyro trilogy even more so than the Crash Bandicoot one. It looks so much better with like modern graphics than the original games. So I was kind of
I,
impressed with
I
that
would
one.
say visually, yeah, those I never had played the originals, so I feel like Spyro was still kind of janky control wise, but yeah, visually it was nice.
All right, so the next one I already hinted at this last week, but Mega Man 1 through 6, I have bought on everything. I had them on NES when they first came out. They put out two of them on PSP. I bought those. I bought the collection on GameCube. I bought the collection on PlayStation 2. I then bought the collection on PlayStation 3. And I bought the collection on the Nintendo Switch. So I've bought Mega Man 1 through 6 a bunch of times. Some of those collections even included up to Mega Man 8.
Oh yeah.
I think the Switch one. No, that's done in like two different volumes. Never mind. But the GameCube one goes up to 8.
I have one more, and then my next round is going to be two fun honorable mentions. The next one I'll say is I've bought SteamWorld Dig a few times, and
Oh, that's a good game.
and I'll bring that up because I've never actually talked about this game too much on this podcast. SteamWorld Dig is, in my opinion, one of the best indie franchises on Switch. Each game is not very long. I've beaten the first two. Well, now I've beaten the first two now a few times, uh, and they're just very very highly rated throughout all platforms, and it's a game that's on all platforms, including like Google Stadia and like Amazon Luna, which I didn't know. I didn't know what Amazon Luna was until yesterday, until I was getting ready for this. But that's a great game. It's always on sale. Like it's $1 on the Steam store right now. Uh, and I just wanted to bring it up because it's one of the many indie games on Switch that I really like.
Yeah, so my last one that I have on every system I have is Darkest Dungeon because I that's just one of my favorite games, and
It's a good thing we have this podcast together because we have very different taste in games. I'm realizing the more episodes we do.
yeah, we do. But that's just one that I don't know. I just really enjoy it, so I've gotten it a couple of times.
All right, I've got an honorable mention I'm going to save for the last thing, but the last thing is I think I've bought these both the same amount of times: Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I got them obviously on Nintendo 64. They put out a collection of them with on the GameCube. I bought them on the Virtual Console on Wii. I bought them on the Virtual Console on Wii U. I have the 3DS remakes, and I now have them on Switch Online. So 6 systems for Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, which is why anytime the subject comes up of like, should they do another remake of Ocarina of Time, I'm always like, you know what, I've played it enough. If you do it, I'll buy it, but it's not something I'm hungry for, like
Yeah.
some people online seem to be.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's a lot of other, not a lot at this point, but other Zelda games that are just less popular that deserve uh, a remaster or a remake. Again, I don't know what these words mean at this point. I don't know. Is re
And my honorable mention was sort of what made me think of this segment is so I used to collect like the retro games before the pricing got out of hand, and I had a lot of like copies of older games. And the reason I was able to build such a big library is I had a policy where I refused to trade in video games at GameStop for other games. And there's a specific reason why. Mega Man Legends on the PlayStation 1, I traded that game in like 4 or 5 times before I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Because I would trade it in to get a new game, and then a few months later I'd be like, you know what, I really feel like playing Legends again, so I'd have to go rebuy it, and then I'd want another game, so I'd trade it in again, and I'd be like, man, I really want to play Mega Man Legends again, so I'd rebuy it, and then it became one of those rare games, which was kind of a sad thing, but or not rare, but like expensive,
Yeah.
I'll say. and and yeah, so Mega Man Legends, I after doing that like 4 or 5 times, I made a rule where I was like, I am never trading in a video game again because I don't know down the line if I'm going to want to play it again or not. So that's my story about that.
so I have two more. I'm calling them honorable mentions because I'm cheating this segment right now. I just couldn't come up with any more. Um, I'm gonna say Tetris because
Okay.
I
Oh
had the
yeah.
original Tetris. I had it. I had it on Game Boy, and then I know it's different, but I had Tetris Worlds. I had Tetris Ultimate. I still play Tetris 99. So is that good enough? I don't know.
Yeah, that counts.
I mean, at least the first two were the same, like NES and Game Boy. I mean, okay, that. And then last one, can I count NBA 2K? I mean, can I count that?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
because you said the same game, and really, I mean,
Womp womp.
if you just ignored the number on the cover, then it pretty much is the same game. So uh, there's
There's a
that.
Nintendo 64 NHL game. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey, and then a, the Wayne, and then the Olympic hockey. I don't know. There's two Nintendo 64 hockey games that are almost literally the same game. They made like one change to it, and it was like heavily criticized at the time for doing that. They basically re-released the game with a new title and tried selling it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problems go back before that, I'm sure. So yeah, okay. NBA 2K, and listeners, I'm done. I'm done with that. I'm done with that company. I'm done with that series. Don't bother me with the 2K24 Kobe Bryant edition. Like I don't. I'm I'm done. After 23 years, I'm done. I would say that.
You heard it here
Yeah,
first.
yeah, that's it. Did you guys have any more honorable mentions or anything?
That was
That was
my
mine.
list.
Yeah, that's
Got
really
it off my chest.
the only ones that have ended up like that. So
I mean, technically, there's a few others, but nothing worth going crazy about. Like Star Wars Episode One Racer. Sean gave me that for my birthday one year on Switch, and I have the original. And I never bought the PlayStation version, but that's out there. That's yeah. So now we can talk about our spotlight game, and it is a game that I played the bejesus out of growing up. It's called Mappy-Land, and it came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System in Japan, November of '86 and April of '89 in North America. You can see why it would take 3 years to translate such a
Yeah.
complicated game.
I was wondering.
I don't know what that's about. It's not like there's a heavy story or anything
The
like that.
West was
But
not ready for Mappy-Land.
It's not an overly difficult game, and
well, I think that's why I loved it when I was a kid, because kids are bad at things. So I was probably like five. Well, what year was it? '89. Yeah, I was about 5 years old when I was playing this game.
yeah, like it's not a difficult game, but I was really impressed by the balance of the mechanics and the amount of precision that you do need. Like for example, like when you're on those Donkey Kong Jr. vines and then you have to drop down to the to the
Yeah.
the bouncy thing. Like you have to be like real exact or you're just gonna fall and die. So I appreciated the balance of that, unlike a game like Donkey Kong Jr. where it just the mechanics are just no good.
This was a game that I had like a list for a while of games that I played when I was a kid. But when you're a kid, you're bad at video games, so I never beat these games, and they like loomed large in my mind for a while. And like as an adult, I went back and I beat a bunch of these games. I went just on like a big tear through like a giant list of NES and Super Nintendo games. And I have to say, when I made it to the final level of this game before I beat it, I was like, "Oh my god, that I remember I made it here as a kid." So I almost beat this game as a kid, but I didn't.
It does get a little bit brutal towards the end, doesn't it? Like like
Oh yeah, but when you're a kid, you got nothing else going on in
right.
the '80s. There's no other
Yeah.
distraction. I probably played this for 8 hours at a
Yeah,
time.
it definitely is a game where like I this is not a game I played originally, so it definitely is a game where I would die, and there's that feeling of like nah, just like one more time, one more time, one more time.
Yeah.
There was definitely I could feel myself getting sucked in that way, which is good, which is what it's supposed to do. I had a great time with it, just overall.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
enjoyed
don't
it.
know what.
I like the distractions you can pick up and put out.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
That was good stuff. And I had only played the original arcade Mappy before this, so this was my first time with it. And I don't know, I liked it. It was like the perfect mix of arcade and like 2D platforming. Like it just melded together really well.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about this game is I don't know what it is. It's almost like the same thing that I like Mario Party for, is like how all the different levels have like this different theme going on.
Yeah.
And there's just something so simple about like, okay, this is a pirate world. You know what? I'll go through them. I have a list. Um, so the first one is a railroad theme.
Mm.
Then you've got Western. Then you've got tropical, and that's somehow different from jungle. Then you've got pirate, ghost, Seventh Avenue, and Milky Town is the last one, which is space themed. I guess like Milky Way, but
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
wouldn't know it. Yeah. Um, and then like there's different story elements. So the first story point is that it's the character's birthday, and you got to collect cheese. The second one is you got to collect wedding rings because I don't know. That's the next thing you're getting. And then the third one, you get Christmas trees, and then the fourth one is baseballs.
Yeah, I love the ambition of this game. I really do. I think this game has a nice balance of we were ambitious, but we still had focus, and we weren't trying to do too much, in my opinion. Uh, because there are parts in it where I'm like, wait, is this a bomb or is this like a meat hook or like what did I just hit that's like going back and forth? You know, it's like uh
Oh,
I
the zip line thing.
yeah, or like there was something like that you hit and then it swings back and forth and it can hit the enemies.
Yeah, I
And I
thought it
don't
was a
know,
zip
like
line, but maybe I'm wrong.
yeah, there was a few times where I just wasn't sure, but I like games like I like that this game had a lot of ambition, it had a lot of ideas, but didn't try to do too
Yeah.
much. And for a game that came out in 1986, like I love the fact that like I'll collect all the cheese, I'll get to the end of the level, and then nope, you can't go past here, and then you have to backtrack, and then you get taken to another level. I think that's very cool. The fact that they were able to use just those game ideas with the technology they had at the
I
time.
thought the I guess it'd be the physics for it, but the trampoline, like being able to gauge jump into each level, was done really well.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like that, you could so easily see that on an original Nintendo game, like not working right or
Yeah,
not being
Yeah,
predictable.
or just
And
not being responsive, like not being able to actually reach the middle level.
and they
Uh,
didn't get like
yeah,
crazy with having enemies on the screen, which was good. Like I know it's like a little gang of cats, but it wasn't like, you know, to the point where you're like, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
and it's almost rhythm based. It's almost like tactical because, of course, you can backtrack and jump on a trampoline. They can't attack you when you're on the
Yep.
trampoline. Uh, so I do like the strategy of it, and I do enjoy that Mappy only has little mousy
Yep.
hops. Like Mappy can't jump that high. Mappy can't jump over anything. So you really got to use that
Yeah, it was a
strategy.
lot more skill based than I was expecting it to be, but I mean, for an original NES game and for being, I thought it was just interesting that it was a sequel to an arcade game and they just tried to expand what the arcade game was.
man, you're full of good points tonight, Sean.
Well,
Because I agree. Like so often back then, what you would see is they would just do the arcade game on the NES and to mixed results. But this, they were like, what can we improve? How can
Yeah,
we make
because I
this
mean, they
more
could
of
have
a
just been
game?
like, oh, we'll call it Mappy 2 and we'll literally change like one thing and then just put it out on the system. So I think a lot more care went into it. And it, you know, Harrison's right. It kind of has the roguelike like game loop of just no, I'm gonna go again. So it's kind of cool to see something that old be able to suck you in like that.
Definitely. So I'm gonna just jump into where I'm ranking it because I've been kind of thinking about that while you guys were talking. And as far as like the amount of enjoyment I got out of this, I kind of put it on par with those early Kirby games that we played. So I'm going to put it right in the middle of the two Kirby games I have here. I put it above Dreamland because that was the Game Boy one, if you don't remember, because that was the one where it was like, well, you can kind of just float over the whole level sometimes. Um, so I put it above that and just below Kirby's Adventure. That was the NES one. I think, had a little bit more going for it with the different power ups and stuff. But yeah, it's still in my top 10. It's number 10 on my list for now.
So I put it at number 13, just under Kirby's Dreamland, because I enjoyed it, but I still feel like I don't know it was really fun, but I don't see going back to it. So it
Well, this is the classic debate people have been having for 30 years now. Is Mappy-Land better or worse than Dreamland? I say better, you say worse.
yeah, but it's not worse by much. Honestly, like they're really close.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where Harrison's going to rank it, but we are basically saying if you haven't played this game It's kind of on par with Kirby's Dream Land.
Okay. And Kevin, not to mess you up, but Sean did already add the game to the document. So Mappy-Land is now
Oh, I see.
13 and 14 on
Oh,
Sean's
cool.
list.
There we go. It's fixed.
Well, actually, that's interesting. You said that because without thinking of Dreamland, I put Mappy-Land number 7
wow.
on my list. So I'm gonna put it after Open Golf, and I'll put it before Dreamland, and then before Game.
See, he's on my side of things. It's better than Dreamland.
But I feel like,
I was torn.
yeah,
Okay, Natalie
I
Ambrosia.
feel like it's a good place to put it for me as far as how much I enjoyed this game. And honestly, like, everything above that is like, well, they're all Mario games. It's one Zelda and all Mario above Mappy-Land. So
I just think it's funny we went from last week from a very ambitious game where none of us really were like in love with it, but we tried again, and like this is such a focused experience that it makes it a better game.
but perhaps it's time based. I don't know. Like I mean, it's definitely a game where if you have 30 minutes, it's fun. I mean, like, you can get through a lot of it. So yeah, I don't know. I think the ambition was right with this game, which is very difficult given the limitations they had. We
So
And now everybody's favorite part. We're going to find out what we're playing next to rank.
Oracle of something.
Oh, good point, Sean. I don't think I forgot to add those. So
Of course you did.
add. Stop. Yeah, I'll have to do that for next week. I'm sorry. So this is the first week where technically every game possible wasn't available in the randomizer. But what it pulled up was the Sega Genesis Fun Fantastic Fiasco Castlevania Bloodlines, which
that's
is
a great game.
It's kind of the counterpoint to Castlevania 4. And I remember at the time being very confused because it was the first Castlevania that didn't have a number in the title. So I was like, does this count? It was very rare back then for a series to like switch up its titling.
You know, for not having as much stuff on there, we've gotten a lot of Genesis games.
Yeah, the randomizer loves Genesis, I guess.
Well,
we still got plenty left. We still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I mean, any excuse to replay Bloodlines is cool with me. So that's gonna rank pretty high for me.
All right, I'm gonna stop counting at 25. We have like maybe 30 Sega Genesis games still left to pick from. So, and they'll probably add 5 more this week because every time we think we're making progress, they add more.
And I will say this is the only Castlevania available right now on the service.
Really?
Oh, you're right. 4 isn't on there.
So none of the NES, Game Boy, Super NES, and then same thing with Contra. It's only Hard Corps.
Wow.
Huh.
But
I didn't even think of that till just now.
I just thought it was weird, but I have the collections for both of those series. But no, I definitely that's a great pick. So I'm curious which character you guys prefer, and yeah, no, that's gonna be a really good one.
Okay, and as always, we are Nintendo fans, not Nintendo experts. So if you thought we messed up on anything, or you want to tell us that we should have talked about something that we missed entirely, let us know. Spotify's got a comment section now. Comment on Spotify. Email us at nintendotherapypod@gmail.com. Twitter is dead. I guess we're X now. I don't know if I'll be using that as much. I was kind of looking for an excuse to leave Twitter already. So maybe just come join us on Reddit. We got Nintendo Therapy subreddit there. And I've been like I said, looking for a reason to leave Twitter, I might just start using that more. It'll just be Sean and I talking to each other. But
Probably.
but you can go join us there.
Although, shout out to Little Brown Shoes because he interacts with us on Reddit.
Okay. And only thing in our email box right now is people trying to get me to pay them to edit the podcast. We don't edit this. Joke's on you. And by the way, I went to college for digital recording arts. If anyone's going to edit it, it's going to be me. So, all right. Thank everybody. We'll see you next time. Game over.